Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Justice League Odyssey, issue number 5. Alright, a lot of news in regarding to this coming up, but now let's just get the solicit, well, not the solicits, you know, the people. Let's just do this, alright? So, Justice League Odyssey, Ghost Sector Part 5. Joshua Williamson is the writer. Carmen Di Giomencio, sorry if I butchered that, is the artist. Ivan Placencia on colors. Daron Bennett on letters, Stefan Sajic did the cover, and the Dodsons, Terry and Rachel, did the variant cover. I butchered that Italian name, like I'm the worst Italian ever. So we get, like, I think one panel with freaking, no, three panels, it looks like, with Green Lantern in it. Everything else is just everybody else. There's not a lot that happens. You're basically... That's a lie. Here, you find out why all the planets have been shrunk and hidden away in the Ghost Sector, what's now called the Ghost Sector, by the Coluans. You find out exactly why that is in this comic book. So it's a book that's actually progressing the story a little bit. But it's boring. I'm sorry. I know I sound like a jerk, but this book, like, you find out what the angels were, who, you know, quote-unquote, air quotes, angels that came down and killed Starfire's followers. You find out what Darkseid's master plan was in this, you know, whole story. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, cool. But at the end of the day, the book reads like a book that is going to be canceled soon. All right, and for that reason, I decided to look up where this book is going. So I looked through some of the websites and I saw solicits all the way up to issue number 8 of this comic book, so 3 more issues in the future. But then I found an article by Newsarama that just came out yesterday. That's the 31st of January, 2019. So literally yesterday. And it says that issue number 6, I believe it is going to be resolicited. There's going to be a whole story change. So the February edition of this book, which will come out at the end of February, this book is going to be different. It's going to wrap up the story. It's going to tell the Blackfyre story instead of Starfire's sister, which is cool because she was in this book. She was in last week's book. It was very interesting how she appeared in last week's book. And I still did like the story to a strong degree last week. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm still buying the physical copies of this book. But this particular book, and therefore the story, that seems to, like, it's been dragging its heels and telling us stuff. And then when all of a sudden it reveals pretty much everything, it feels like they're just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. They're just dumping everything like a hard dump. Just everything just falling out, you know, at the same time. And it's underwhelming because it didn't tell a story how all these things were revealed. They just decided to reveal it. Darkseid walks into some water and then it's like, oh, well, my master plan is that. And Cyborg, like, is the only story they can ever tell with Cyborg that he attaches himself to another computer and, you know, like, finds out all sorts of information? Is there a way possible to tell the story where he's not jacking into another big master computer and, you know, all of a sudden nobody else could have done that because nobody else can jack in? First of all, has anybody ever heard of Wi-Fi? I was part of the original project, one of the many original projects in developing and creating Wi-Fi. I did the RF amplifiers. That was me. I ran all the test projects on there. Hi. And it was like, I know for a fact, and this was back in 89 and 90, okay? I know for a fact that Wi-Fi is a thing that you can actually use, all right? So, like, most of you are watching this on your phones, which are not actually attached to anything, you know, because Wi-Fi, it's like... And this guy's got to constantly, like, jack into stuff and plug in and say, what the frick is this, The Matrix? Jeez, it was a great movie, you know, when it came out. But that was a while ago. We've had a whole trilogy of that, and we've forgotten about it, largely forgotten about it. You know, so they might make a Morpheus prequel, which could be cool. But, like, dude, I'm done with that. Can we just have a different story with Cyborg for once that maybe doesn't involve supercomputers that he can jack into and almost get taken over by and somebody saves him? Like, Oh my God. Like, they literally went down that road. You've got this amazing character that can do all these things. But no, all they got him doing is jacking into a computer. You freaking tech rapist. Like, what is the matter with you, man? There was a Star Wars gangster rap with like explicit lyrics and like R2-D2, watch your language, always having sex with robotic strangers. Look up that song by those lyrics. It's actually a really funny song. But like, come on, man, that's this guy. You know what I want to say? You know what I want to say? Cyborg versus R2-D2 at this point, because let's be realistic. Cyborg doesn't need to use all of his boo, power stuff and the mother and all that. No, he just needs to jack into stuff, and that's what R2-D2 does also. So just have them both have a jack in contest. We'll call it jacked. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus. Can you tell I'm a little frustrated by that? Can you tell? It's like they're in the freaking ghost sector of another dimension, and the only story they got for this guy is to jack into some ghost sector computer. Come on, man! God, frustrating. Anyway, I feel like this whole comic book, this comic book feels like a movie breakup. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I've never personally been in a breakup where somebody said, it's not me, it's you. But, like, when we see the stuff in the movies, it's always like one person wants to break up, but still wants to be polite and be friends with this person. The other person's like, ain't no way we could be friends. Like, first of all, I don't want to break up. Second, why are we, why are you going to break up and be friends? What, you're just going to tease me with that? Like, we've been together for all this time, and also we're just supposed to, like, handshake instead of make out? Like, what the frick is that? What the frick is that? It just doesn't make any sense. And that's like what this comic book feels like. It's like, listen, I think we should see other people. Whoa, I don't want to see other people. Like, I'm happy just seeing you. What, you need to spice things up? You're looking for a threesome, foursome? What are you trying to do? No. I mean, you and I don't see each other anymore. And, like, we just see other people instead of each other. But we can still be friends. Bitch, I don't want to be friends with you. Like, what the hell? What are you talking about? What are you talking? What kind of asinine thing? I don't want to break up. I don't understand. Like, why is this a thing? Why is that? What did I do? What did I do? No, it's not you. It's not you. Here it comes. It's not you. It's me. All right, well then, bitch, change, because like, so if it's not me, it's you. Well then, fix your crap and let's continue dating, because the getting's good. like what the frick? What are we breaking up for? Like, none of that makes any sense. And that's what this feels like. It feels like an episode of Friends, where they always got those crazy over-the-top breakups. You know what I'm saying? Or Seinfeld. Seinfeld has some bad breakups, too. They're real, and they're fantastic, whatever she said. You know what I'm saying? Or the whole, like, I can't believe you cheated on me. We were on a break. Like, it's so over the top, this comic book. And it still feels underwhelming when we finally get the stories. Just, bloop, like wheelbarrow. Bloop. Like, what is this? Really? Give us the answer by telling in the story. The problem is, like I said, the story, they drag their feet telling the story, and all of a sudden. And I don't know how much I could trust the Newsarama article either, also, just for the sake of conversation, because they went and said, oh, Dan Abnett is going to continue the story. I'm like, Dan Abnett is going to jump on the story? That's great, because right now, I think I just mentioned, it's Joshua Williamson. The guy writing The Flash, really good stories. So I know the guy knows how to write stories, and again, please, this is not me, coming down on Joshua Williamson. I don't know what DC Comics is telling him he has to write. I don't know. They might be like, okay, I want you to be really creative, but I want you to add such and such in. So what's with the oxymoron? You just said be creative, but make sure you add this stuff in. So whose creative am I being? Mine or yours? So like I don't, because it is tied in with Justice League. The Justice League Annual just came out. Darkseid, this Darkseid with the cowl, had one panel devoted to him where he said something that I was like, oh, cool. But then I read this comic book and I'm like, no, it's nothing. There was absolutely nothing. It's really just a reminder, hey, Justice League Odyssey is out and I'm in that comic book. Don't you want to read that comic book with Darkseid in it? Because Darkseid is useless in this comic book. That's what it is. So I don't know who's running the master background story of what's going on here, telling Mr. Williamson what he's got to write and, like in general, but it's not working. It's just not working for this comic book. So if this comic book ends at issue 8, I'm good with it. If Mr. Williamson is going to leave and Dan Abnett is going to come in, I'm wondering how, because like the guy's awesome, but he's not God. Nobody's God, except God. And God's not writing these comic books. Dan Abnett's going to be writing this comic, according to this. Because this comic book also said, oh, and somebody else, I can't remember which artist. You know what, maybe I can check it out really quick. Which artist is taking over, they said, for Stefan Sajic. And I'm just laughing at that because Stefan Sajic stopped writing. Oh, Carmen Di Giamon, this guy, basically. This guy's going to be doing. But like, he's already on the book, and Stefan Sajic hasn't been on this book since issue 3. Like, issue 3 was his final issue. These past 2 issues have been Carmine. So what the hell is this book talking about? Or, you know, what is Newsarama talking about? So I don't know how much I can really trust them. But they said that there was a message sent out by DC to comic book retailers yesterday, apparently. And I didn't see my guy since the day before. You know, that, oh yeah, the solicits are going to change for the upcoming issues of Justice League Odyssey. Okay, so my recommendation is go and read the solicits for issues 6, 7, and 8, because they are up, they are available. They're not that damn interesting, but you can see where they were going with this, and now they're going to change the solicits to have more to do with Blackfyre. So there's going to be a Blackfyre story being told starting in the next issue, which is interesting because she was actually in here. But yeah, it tells me I'm going to keep on reading the comic book, but I can't promise I'm going to be getting a physical copy next week. You know what that means. You know what that means, that we're literally one bad issue away from me just dropping the title in its entirety. That's how bad this issue was, that I'm already talking about maybe giving it one more issue. Like, not a good sign. Anyway, guys, if you did enjoy it, cool. If you didn't, commiserate with me. Otherwise, tell me where I'm wrong. Seriously, comments below. I read them. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.